Welcome back to another episode of Flame of Recca. Today we're going to be breaking down everything that happened in episode 11, so let's get right into it. In episode 11 of Flame of Recca, titled The Five Blades of Kogan Anki, we find our group split up once again on different floors of this mansion. We find Recca, Domon, and Fuko on the 4th floor, and Tokiya on the 3rd floor. As the episode opens, we see that Tokiya has already made it to the 3rd floor, and he ends up running into Kogane Kaoru. Now, if you recall in episode 10, Tokiya decided to join Recca and the others after he heard them talking about helping Yanagi. So because of that, he ended up getting separated from his clan, and now finds himself here on the 3rd floor facing off against Kogane. Now, for those of you that don't know, Kogane is a really interesting character. He's actually a young boy, and he was introduced in episode 6. However, he did not receive a full introduction and backstory until the OVAs. And if you haven't watched the OVAs, I highly recommend you do, because they are really awesome and they actually take place before the series begins. Anywho, let's get back to the fight. Kogane starts off by saying that it's been a while since he had someone to play with and he looks forward to fighting against Tokiya. Tokiya says that he doesn't want to fight him, but Kogane doesn't listen and attacks Tokiya with his Madog, Kogan Anki. Now, Kogan Anki is an extremely versatile weapon, and it's also one of my favorites in the entire series. Why? Because it can turn into 5 different blades. Each blade has its own special name and ability, and Kogane is going to show off every single one of them. First, though, he's going to start off with the red hair blade, which is obviously inspired by the Chinese zodiac sign of the rabbit. The red hair blade is a short sword with a black handle wrapped in red cloth. Once it's unsheathed, it can shoot out wire rope like projectiles at a very fast rate. Kogane explains that this form is very quick and hits many times in succession. But after firing about 10 shots, he runs out of steam and has to retract the blade to reload. When the attack misses, Kogane tells Tokiya to come closer so he can show him more of the moves of the red hair blade, which can also be used defensively. To get close, Tokiya jumps over the red hair blade projectile and gets close enough to grab the blade and break it. Tokiya tells Kogane to just give up, but Kogane just laughs and says that he's nowhere near his strongest. Tokiya prepares for more action, but Kogane quickly disappears. Tokiya is confused and asks where he went, and Kogane pops out from behind, saying that he teleported there using one of the other forms of the Koga anchor. Next, he pulls out his second blade known as the White Tiger Blade. The White Tiger Blade is a longer blade with a silver handle. Its ability is said to be capable of sending out powerful shockwaves through the air. Kogane fires off a couple of these shockwaves and Tokiya barely dodges out of the way. Tokiya thinks back to what Kogane said earlier about having to teleport when using the White Tiger Blade. So he realizes that if he gets close enough to Kogane, then he might be able to disarm him. So that's exactly what he does. Tokiya manages to get close, grabs onto Kogane's hand with the blade, and pulls it away. But unfortunately, it's not over yet because Kogane immediately pulls out his third blade, known as the Vermilion Bird Blade. This blade is smaller than the last two and has an orange handle. It's said to have fire-type abilities, and it can be thrown and catch its target on fire. Kogane throws the blade towards Tokiya, who blocks it with his sword Ensui. Kogane is shocked to see that Tokiya's sword can block his blade, but he's still confident. He tells Tokiya to take this chance to look at all 5 of his blades. He pulls out his 4th blade, the Azure Dragon Blade. This blade has a blue handle and is the heaviest of all of them. It can supposedly increase its size to become even heavier. Kogane grabs onto Tokiya's shoulder and slams the blade into the ground, causing a small earthquake. Tokiya takes some damage and stumbles backwards. Kogane is impressed with how strong Tokiya is, but he's still not giving up. He pulls out his final and most powerful blade, the Black Tortoise Blade. It has a black handle and can apparently turn the user invisible. Kogane rushes in to try and stab Tokia, but Tokia, thanks to his water manipulation abilities, creates a fake image of himself, and Kogane ends up stabbing that instead. Kogane is completely shocked and surprised. He thought he hit Tokia, but Tokia wasn't hurt at all. Tokia tells Kogane that he just created a clone of himself using water and that it appears whenever he feels threatened. Now Kogane is starting to panic. He thought he was going to win, but he's now lost track of where Tokia is. Tokia strikes while Kogane is vulnerable and knocks him unconscious. Kogane falls to his knees and the episode ends. I'm sorry to say this, but I think I just ruined half of the episode for you guys, so I recommend you go ahead and watch it. Anyway, moving on, let's talk about what's happening elsewhere in the episode, as Tokia is dealing with Kogane, Recca, Domon, and Fuko make their way to the 4th floor. They run into a bunch of plants and animals, but they destroy all of them without any trouble. Then they hear a voice, and the voice introduces himself as Kurei. That's right, the guy that everyone thought was a girl. At first, Recca didn't believe that this guy was actually Kurei. He thought maybe he was just a subordinate of Kurei. But then Fuko tells him that she felt the same energy signature coming from him that she felt from the real Kurei. Kurei confirms this by saying that the only one that can tell his gender is the one that has defeated him in battle. Until now, no one has ever defeated him, which is why everyone always assumed that he was a woman. Then Kurei tells them that he wants to fight, and Recca accepts. Before they can begin fighting, though, Kurei drops a huge bomb. He says that both him and Recca were sent to the present time from the past. And when he says past, he doesn't mean the near future that we saw in the previous episodes. No, he means much further back in time, like thousands of years back. Specifically, he says that he and Recca were sent back from the Sengoku period. This causes a flashback of when Recca was just a baby. We see him along with his mother and father. His father is Oda Nobunaga, and his mother is a mysterious woman who we assume must be someone important. His father hands him off to a mysterious man and tells him to entrust his son to him and to protect him with your life. This man turns out to be Tokisada, the leader of the Shimazu clan. Suddenly, a bunch of men burst through the door and surround Nobunaga. They demand that he hands over his son. One of the men grabs Recca and his mother and jumps out the window. Nobunaga tells Tokisada to protect Recca, and then he charges out the window after them. The flashback ends and Recca is left stunned. Finally, someone knows the truth about his past. As Recca is having these thoughts, he falls into a hole with everyone else and they fall right into Mokuren's laboratory. Just when things couldn't get worse, plants start attacking them. So I guess we'll have to wait till next episode to see how this fight plays out. Well, that's gonna be it for this episode. If you guys enjoyed, please leave a thumbs up. Let me know what you thought about this episode in the comments below. Are you excited to see what happens next episode with Mokuren and the gang? I sure am. And if you haven't already, then consider subscribing because I post videos on anime and video games. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Hey, what's up, guys? It's me, the Synthetic Anime 3D, and today we are going to be doing a full recap for In Flame of Recca Episode 12, titled Kurenai the Flame, the Angel of Death. For those who are new here, I'm going to quickly sum up the show so far. So, In Flame of Recca follows the story of Yanagi, a young boy who, after getting lost in the woods, comes across a dying old man. The old man entrusts Yanagi with his most prized possession before passing away. Unbeknownst to Yanagi, that item was a rare red dragon egg. Soon after, Yanagi is attacked by assassins, but he is saved by a mysterious girl named Recca. Recca, along with his friends, Domon and Fuko, all attend the same academy where they learn how to hone their unique fire-based powers known as Madu. One day, while training in the forest, Yanagi accidentally hatches the dragon egg and is greeted by a baby dragon. With the arrival of the dragon, the group soon finds themselves targeted by both the assassins from before and a secret organization who seek to steal the dragon's power. The group now must work together to protect Yanagi and the dragon, while also learning more about the nature of Madu and its role in the world. Now let's move on to the recap. Now last time we left off, Recca and the gang were confronted by Mokuren, one of the higher-ups within the organization known as Recca no Yume. After hearing about the history between Kure and Recca, Recca got angry and attacked, but Kure simply vanished from sight. Suddenly, the ground beneath them began to shake, and they found themselves falling into a hidden laboratory. As the dust settled, they realized that they were surrounded by all sorts of strange machines and bizarre plants. And as they cautiously moved through the lab, they unknowingly triggered a trap which opened up a hole in the ceiling and dropped a large boulder onto Fuko. Recca immediately dashed forward and used his flames to blast the boulder into pieces. As he went to check on Fuko, she reassured him that she was okay and explained that there was still danger. Fuko noticed that the plants around them were beginning to stir and grow. Suddenly, the plants lunged out and attacked the group. As they tried to defend themselves, it became clear that these plants were unlike anything they had seen before. They were fast, strong, and seemed to be working together in some kind of hive mind. Just when it seemed like the plants would overpower them, a voice echoed through the room. That voice belonged to Mokuren, who revealed himself watching from a monitor somewhere in the room. He explained that these plants were his creation and that he planned to use them to conquer the world. Mokuren taunted the group, enjoying their fear and pain. He watched with amusement as they struggled against his plants. Then he decided to end it quickly. He commanded his plants to take the dragon egg, which was being protected by Yanagi. As the plants closed in, Yanagi screamed out in terror. However, at that moment, Domon stepped in front of Yanagi, ready to protect him. Domon let out a roar and charged forward, launching a powerful punch. His attack sent the plants flying, giving Yanagi a chance to get away. But Mokuren just laughed. He activated a switch on his machine, and suddenly the room filled with water. The plants grew larger and stronger in the water, surrounding and trapping Domon. Domon struggled against them, but he was quickly losing ground. Realizing that Domon was in trouble, Fuko took action. She unleashed the power of her Winmadog, the Fujin, and created a vortex of air. This helped to free Domon from the plants, but it also gave the plants a chance to regroup. Mokuren continued to taunt the group, reveling in their desperation. He claimed that he was the strongest plant manipulator and that they were trapped in his perfect laboratory. Just when it seemed like all hope was lost, Recca stepped forward. He was filled with anger and determination to save his friends and rescue Yanagi. Recca unleashed the full power of his flames, sending a massive wave of fire towards the plants. The plants withered and burned, but they quickly regenerated. No matter how much Recca attacked, the plants kept coming back. It was like fighting an endless army. Recca struggled to maintain his focus. He was exhausted and frustrated. But as he looked around, he saw that Fuko and Domon were also exhausted. He knew that he couldn't give up, not only for himself, but for his friends and for Yanagi. Fueled by his determination, Recca pushed forward. He continued to unleash powerful blasts of flames, incinerating the plants. The laboratory shook as the flames and plants clashed. Suddenly, the machine behind Mokuren began to glow. Mokuren panicked. He realized that the machine was overloaded, and that if he didn't do something, it would explode. In a last-ditch effort, Mokuren prepared his most powerful attack. He gathered all of his energy and focused it into his Madog. With a final cry, he unleashed his Madog. It was a living flame spirit. It took the form of a beautiful woman with wings made of fire. She was an angel, but she was also a harbinger of death. Recca's eyes widened in shock as he saw the power of this new enemy. The flame spirit, whose name turned out to be Kurenai, easily overpowered Recca and the others. She flew through the air, incinerating everything in her path. The laboratory was engulfed in flames as Karenin wreaked havoc. Recca could only watch in horror as she destroyed everything he had fought so hard to protect. The episode ends with Recca and the others trapped inside the burning laboratory, desperately trying to find a way out while avoiding Karanai's attacks. Well, that's all the major events that happened in episode 12. If you want to stay updated on future installments, then make sure to like and comment if you enjoyed the recap. It really helps us out a lot. Anyway, I'll see you next time for the next recap. Bye. Hey guys, it's me. Today we're going to be taking a look at Flame of Recca episode 13. In our last episode, we saw Recca, Domon, and Fuko finally track down the whereabouts of Yanagi, who had disappeared after the events of the Fire Spirit Festival. However, before they could confront him, they were suddenly attacked by an army of puppets, all controlled by a mysterious figure named Kurei. Now picking up from there, Recca, Domon, and Fuko are surrounded by Kurei's army of puppets, and they're all out of chakra. Just when it looks like they're going to be overwhelmed, one of the puppets suddenly stops moving and explodes, allowing Fuko to escape. While she runs away, she hears Kurei's voice explaining that the reason why he attacked them was because he wanted Recca's power. Then just like that, all the puppets stop moving, and when they turn around, they see that Kurei is standing right in front of them. As they stare at each other, Kurei begins to walk towards them and slowly extends his hand. Out of nowhere, a red orb suddenly flies out of his hand, rapidly growing in size until it turns into a gigantic fire spirit that takes the form of a beautiful woman. She introduces herself as Cure and says that she is the living flame Madug of Cure. She states that she can feel the power inside of Recca and wants to know what it is. Suddenly, she charges towards them and begins to attack. Her flames are much larger and more powerful than anything that they've ever seen before. Even though Recca is also a fire user, he can't seem to get close enough to her to do anything about it. Then Fuko notices that the ground underneath them is beginning to crack and split apart. As the earth gives way, Kurenai laughs and tells them that this is the ultimate fire, the legendary dragon. After she finishes saying that, the ground completely crumbles, and they all fall down into a giant pit. Later, we see that Fuko had managed to use a scroll to soften the ground, and they all ended up landing safely. Recca immediately gets back into a fighting stance and tells Kurei that he won't let him hurt any more innocent people. Cure responds by telling Recca that he's cute, but his flames are weak. She grabs a hold of one of his horns and throws him across the room. As soon as he hits the ground, she goes in for the kill, but Recca manages to defend himself at the last second. Meanwhile, Fuko quickly realizes that in order to defeat this fire spirit, they're gonna need some help. She takes off in the direction of the nearest village, desperately hoping that she can find someone that will listen to her pleas. Back at the hideout, Recca continues to struggle against Cure, who seems to be getting stronger with every passing moment. She easily dodges all of his attacks and even manages to land a few solid hits on him. Recca thinks back to all of the times that he spent with Yanagi and his friends. Remembering all of the moments that they shared together gives him the strength to keep going. Suddenly, while Kurei isn't paying attention, Recca notices that there is another horn on the back of Kurei's head. He makes a mad dash towards it, but before he can reach it, she grabs a hold of him and knocks him back down to the ground. Kurei taunts Recca, telling him that he should give up because he simply can't win. He then proceeds to tell Recca the truth about the fire spirits. He explains that Recca's flame isn't just a power, it's actually a living being. He also reveals that Recca's true inheritance is the legendary dragon. 8 different flame spirits that reside within him, each with their own unique ability. So far, Recca has only been able to use the first of these dragons, the Nijo, or the double dragon, which is a simple, powerful flame. Kurei continues to explain that the reason why he came after Recca was because he wanted to absorb his flame and use its power to control all of the other fire spirits. He reveals that his own name is taken from the kanji for both fire and suffering, and so far he has already collected 3 of the 8 dragon spirits. Realizing that he's in grave danger, Recca refuses to give up. He clenches his teeth and focuses all of his energy on his hands. Remembering all of the times that he's trained with Yanagi and the others, he feels a surge of power coursing through his veins. Then, pushing with all of his might, Recca breaks the horn on the back of Cure's head. Kure is shocked by this, and before he can react, Recca uses his newfound power to launch a surprise attack. The episode then cuts to commercial. After the break, we see that Recca's attack had managed to land a solid hit on Cure. Although she was able to recover fairly quickly, she wasn't quite as strong as she was before. Now weakened, she reverts back to her original form and flies back to Kure. Enraged, he tells her to go and train harder so that next time they won't lose. Then turning back to Recca, he prepares to make his final move. However, before he can do anything, Fuko arrives with reinforcements. They all work together and manage to tie Kure up. Now that he's no longer a threat, they all begin to search the area to see if anyone else was injured during the fight. Luckily, everyone is okay and they all decide to head back home. Once they arrive, Recca thanks Fuko and the others for their help. He then heads off to train, determined to get stronger. Meanwhile, Fuko goes to check on Yanagi. She asks him if he knows anything about Kure, but he simply shakes his head. Later that night, Fuko and Yanagi are sitting on the roof of their house, looking up at the stars. Fuko tells Yanagi that she doesn't want to fight, but he tells her that sometimes they have no choice. Back at Kure's hideout, he's shown sitting on a rock in the middle of a cave. Next to him are 3 different horns, each representing one of the dragon spirits that he has already absorbed. Then suddenly, a large shadow envelops him. Startled, he turns around to see a giant bird monster standing behind him. It introduces itself as the first of the legendary dragons, Gabara. Then, as the episode comes to a close, we see that Kure is trapped inside of a cage made of ice. So there you have it, folks. That was a full recap of Flame of Recca episode 13. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and comment down below to let me know what you think. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future updates. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today we will recap Flame of Recca episode 14. So let's get started. Previously on Flame of Recca, Recca and Kure fought an intense battle with Kure's fire spirit, Kure. The fight was one of life and death, but in the end, Recca prevailed and was able to use his newfound ability to manifest the Saiva dragon to defeat Kure. Despite the victory, the group is still trapped in the maze-like corridors of Kure's mansion, and they are running out of time. As they continue their journey, Kure reveals more about Recca's past and the connection between the two of them. But what exactly does Kure have in store for Recca? What new revelations about Recca's past will come to light? Let's find out in today's episode. The episode starts off with a flashback. We see a young boy around the age of 7 or 8 walking through a forest. He stops to admire a butterfly, but when he turns around, he finds himself lost. He calls out for help, but no one answers. He walks until he comes across a river and sits down on a nearby rock. Just when he thinks he can't go any further, he hears a voice telling him to jump into the river. The voice tells him that if he can swim to the other side without touching the ground, he will be safe. The boy hesitantly follows the instructions and eventually makes it to the other side of the river. Once there, he passes out from exhaustion. When he wakes up, he finds himself in a cave. An old man is sitting next to him and asks him if he can hear him. The old man tells him that he is the guardian of the cave and that he has been waiting for someone like him for a long time. The old man asks the boy if he wants to become stronger and live a life of luxury. The boy agrees without hesitation. The old man then tells him that he will give him the power to do so, but in return, he will ask him for a favor in the future. The boy accepts the deal and receives a mysterious pendant. In the present, Recca and the gang have arrived at the heart of the mansion. They find a portal and prepare to jump through it. Suddenly, the ground beneath them gives way and they fall into a trap door. Recca quickly reacts and grabs onto a ledge, but he is unable to pull the others up. He calls out for help, but no one answers. Just when he thinks all hope is lost, a mysterious figure appears and saves the day. The figure helps Recca and the others escape, and they find themselves in a dark alley. They decide to split up and look for clues about what happened to Yanagi. Meanwhile, Kure is furious that his plan has failed and vows revenge. Kure reveals that he had set a trap for Recca, but it was interrupted by the appearance of the Oni King. He explains that the Oni King was drawn to the presence of the Hokage's bloodline and that he used this opportunity to capture Recca's sister. Kure reveals that the only way to save her now is to perform a ritual that will transfer her soul into a puppet. He says that Recca will have to choose between saving his sister or saving Yanagi. Recca is torn between the two options, but ultimately decides to save Yanagi. He knows that his sister is strong and that she will be able to protect herself. He also believes that if he doesn't save Yanagi, then the Oni King will eventually take over her body and use her as a vessel. Back in the present, Recca and the others are still searching for clues about what happened to Yanagi when they come across a group of children playing. The children tell them that they saw Yanagi being taken away by some men. Recca and the others thank the children and head in the direction Yanagi was taken. They eventually come across a large building and sneak inside. They find a group of men talking in hushed tones. It becomes clear that these men are the ones who took Yanagi. One of the men speaks up and tells them that they have something that belongs to the Hokage clan and that they want it back. Recca refuses, saying that he will never give up what belongs to his family. The men are taken aback by Recca's determination and decide to fight. As the fight begins, it becomes clear that these men are no ordinary thugs. They are all fire users with incredible power. Recca and the others are outnumbered and outmatched, but they refuse to give up. Recca uses his newfound powers to his advantage, summoning the Saiva dragon to help him fight. The dragon's immense power quickly turns the tide of the battle, and the men are no match for the Hokage clan's bloodline abilities. One of the men tries to escape, but Recca quickly stops him. He demands to know where they took Yanagi, but the man refuses to cooperate. Just when Recca is about to end the man's life, he is stopped by a familiar voice. The man looks up and says, "I'm sorry, Recca. It's too late. You're already surrounded." Recca turns around to see a group of men with weapons pointed at him. He is quickly overpowered and taken to a dark room. The men leave Recca alone in the room, and he begins to panic. He calls out for help, but no one answers. Suddenly, the door opens and Kure appears. Kure approaches Recca and says, "You're finally awake. I've been waiting for you." Recca asks about Yanagi, but Kure simply smiles and says, "She's fine. For now." Kure tells Recca that he is the reason why their clan was destroyed and that he is going to pay for it. Recca refuses to believe him and says that he doesn't know what he's talking about. Kure becomes enraged and attacks Recca. The two fight fiercely, but it becomes clear that Kure is too powerful for Recca to handle. Just when it seems like Recca is about to lose, he remembers the pendant given to him by the old man in the cave. He closes his eyes and concentrates, and suddenly a blue flame appears in his hand. The blue flame grows and envelops Recca, giving him the power he needs to fight back against Kure. With newfound strength, Recca attacks Kure and the two fight even more fiercely. Suddenly, Kure loses control and transforms into his devil form. He becomes even more powerful than before, and Recca is struggling to keep up. Just when it seems like Recca is about to be defeated, he remembers the words of the old man in the cave. He closes his eyes and concentrates once again, and this time, a white flame appears in his hand. The white flame envelops Recca, and he becomes even more powerful than before. Recca attacks Kure with everything he's got, determined to end the fight once and for all. But what he doesn't know is that Kure has a final trick up his sleeve. The flashback continues. We see the young Hokage clan leader and his wife, Kage Hoshi, talking about their unborn child. The clan leader is excited to meet his son, but Kagehoshi is worried about the prophecy that says a future leader will be born at the same time as their son, and that person will be the true successor. The clan leader reassures her that everything will be fine. Suddenly, the sound of drums and shouting can be heard outside. The clan leader goes to investigate and discovers that the enemy is attacking. He returns to his wife and tells her that they have to leave. He hands her the madog and tells her to take their son to safety. Kagehoshi makes her way to the river and uses the madog to create a portal. She steps through the portal with her son and is transported to the future. She emerges from the river and collapses. In the present, Recca is still fighting Kure when he suddenly remembers the events of the past. He realizes that Kure is his older brother and that he was the true successor of the Hokage clan. Recca is shocked and saddened by this revelation, but he knows that he has to keep fighting. The episode ends with Recca and Kure locked in a fierce battle. The outcome is uncertain, but one thing is clear. The rivalry between the two clans is far from over. And that's it for Flame of Recca episode 14. If you enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to share your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, please don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss any updates on our latest videos. Thank you for watching and see you next time. In Flame of Recca. Episode 15, The Curse of Time, Mother and Son, the story continues its focus on the tragic history of the Hokage clan and its connection to the present. We last saw Yanagi being taken away by Kure and his men after he won the last match of the preliminary rounds of the Shinobi Grand Festival. But before we can see what happens next, the episode opens with a flashback. We see a young girl, Kagehoshi, walking through the village and overhearing some kids talking about how the Hokage clan always ends up fighting each other. Their discussion makes her sad because it reminds her of her own past and the tragedy that befell her family. Back in the present, Recca is having trouble focusing on anything. He's still struggling to come to terms with everything he learned in the previous episode, namely that he's from the past, that he's related to the main antagonist, and that his own mother is behind it all. His internal struggles cause him to nearly miss an important meeting with Fuko and Domon, who are both concerned about his well-being. After some convincing from his friends, Recca agrees to tell them everything he learned from the scroll. As he explains everything, we get a better understanding of just how much Kagehoshi manipulated everyone. Not only did she orchestrate the downfall of her own clan to take revenge on the Senju, she also made moves in the shadows to secure her son's future. Recca wonders why she did all of this, and if she really believed that things would end up working out the way she wanted. Suddenly, Recca's mother appears before him in a spiritual form. She tells him that he shouldn't blame himself for what happened to the Hokage clan and that she doesn't hate him. Instead, she wants him to look forward to his future, because she believes he can make something of himself. Before disappearing, she emphasizes that he should accept his fate and stop running from it. Her words leave Recca feeling conflicted. He's still angry at her for what she did, but he realizes that he may have no choice but to follow her plan. Kure appears with Yanagi in tow, and he gloats about his victory in the preliminaries. Recca steps forward and tells his brother that he won't let him hurt Yanagi, but Kure just laughs and walks away. He's confident that he can easily defeat Recca and doesn't take him seriously. As Kure and his men leave, Recca vows to rescue Yanagi and bring his brother back to justice. We then see that Fuko and Domon have brought Tokiya with them to seek out more information about the underground death tournament. Tokiya recognizes the gravity of the situation and knows that he must do something to make up for his failure to protect his sister. He apologizes for his actions and vows to make sure nothing bad happens to Yanagi. Fuko accepts his apology and tells him that they need his help to rescue Yanagi. Tokiya readily agrees and joins their team. Tokiya reveals that he already knows about the Urabutu Satsujin and its reputation for being a dangerous fighting tournament where participants can test their strength against other Madog users. He also explains that the winner of the tournament will receive the ultimate prize, Yanagi herself. The news upsets Recca, but he knows that they must enter the tournament if they want to save Yanagi. As they make their way to the tournament, Tokia notices that the atmosphere is tense and there is a palpable sense of danger in the air. The other participants are clearly skilled fighters, and they exude confidence and power. Despite the danger, Tokia remains resolute and determined to rescue Yanagi. He knows that this is his chance to atone for his past mistakes, and he won't let it go to waste. Meanwhile, Kurei is shown training with some of his fellow competitors. He's confident and cocky, believing that his status as the son of the Hokage and his skills as a Madog user are enough to ensure his victory. However, he's in for a rude awakening as he soon faces off against a formidable opponent, a mysterious masked figure who proves to be a match for him. The fight is fierce and intense, and Kurei is pushed to his limits. He realizes that he may have underestimated his opponents and that the tournament is more dangerous than he anticipated. Back with the main group, Recca, Fuko, and Domon are training hard to prepare for the upcoming matches. Recca is focused and determined to become stronger so he can rescue Yanagi and defeat his brother. He knows that he can't rely on his past self to win the tournament, and he must train hard if he wants to stand a chance. Fuko and Domon are equally determined. They know that the tournament is full of dangerous fighters, and they must be at their best if they want to survive. They train together, pushing each other to improve and honing their skills until they're razor sharp. Despite their hard work and determination, they're still outmatched by their opponents. The masked fighter who Kurei faced earlier is revealed to be one of the top contenders in the tournament. He's strong and skilled, and he's looking to prove himself as the best Mado King user. The other fighters are equally formidable, each with their own unique skills and abilities. The group is determined not to give up. They know that they must continue to train and improve if they want to rescue Yanagi and defeat Kurei. The stakes are high and the danger is real, but they're not about to back down. As the episode draws to a close, we see the group preparing for the first match of the tournament. They're nervous but excited, ready to put their skills to the test and see how they stack up against the best of the best. The episode ends on a cliffhanger, leaving us eager to see how they fare in the tournament and what challenges they'll face next. The introduction of the Underground Death Tournament adds a new layer of excitement and danger to the series. The idea of a secret fighting tournament where Madog users from all over the world come to compete is intriguing, and the inclusion of powerful new characters raises the stakes and keeps us on the edge of our seats. The episode also does a great job of building suspense. As we watch the group prepare for the tournament, we know that they're in for a rough ride, and the cliffhanger ending leaves us desperate to see what happens next. Overall, Episode 15 of Flame of Recca is an exciting and action-packed installment that keeps us engaged from start to finish. The combination of a gripping plot, well-developed characters, and stunning animation makes it a must-watch for fans of the series and newcomers alike. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See ya! In Flame of Recca, Episode 16, The Resolution to Fight Recca's Trial, the group officially enters the Urabuto Satsujin, the Underground Death Tournament. This episode focuses on the opening rounds and Recca's first opponent. Hi, I'm here with Anime Academy, and today we're recapping Flame of Recca Episode 16. Please enjoy responsibly. The episode opens with a beautiful shot of the moon shining down on a large complex deep within the woods. We pan up to see that this is actually an enormous tournament ground where Madog users from all over have come to participate in the Urabuto Satsujin. We cut to Team Hokage, who are walking through the woods on their way to the tournament grounds. There's Recca, Domon, Fuko, and Tokia. The four friends are excited to finally take part in the underground tournament. They're officially registered as Team Hokage, and they're looking forward to the challenge. As they get closer to the tournament grounds, we can sense the growing tension and anticipation. The fighters who are already there are starting to gather in groups, sizing each other up and preparing for the upcoming battles. They emerge from the trees to get their first good look at the tournament grounds. It's truly impressive, almost overwhelming. They're met by a man named Genjuro, the mysterious organizer of the event. Genjuro is quite the character, oozing confidence and charisma. He wears traditional Japanese clothing and has a striking appearance that commands attention. His presence hints at the high stakes and unique nature of the tournament they're about to enter. He welcomes them to the Ura Buto Satsujin, the underground death tournament, a thrilling event shrouded in mystery and danger. Genjuro explains the brutal rules of the tournament. He reveals that the competition is fierce, with fights to the death being a real possibility. Only a select few teams will emerge victorious. The main objective of the tournament is to rescue Yanagi, who is held captive by the organizers. Team Hokazi is determined to win and save her. Genjuro leads them to a large coliseum-like structure. It's here where the matches will take place. The arena itself is a testament to the tournament's intensity. Its design suggests battles of epic proportions, where strategy and skill will be put to the ultimate test. The first round is a free-for-all brawl. Every team present is allowed to attack anyone to reduce the numbers so that only the strongest survive. The first match begins with a loud gong. Chaos immediately erupts as all the teams spring into action. Fighters exchange blows, unleashing a flurry of attacks. The crowd cheers, adding to the electrifying atmosphere. Recca and his friends watch from the sidelines, observing their fellow competitors. It's a mix of excitement and apprehension as they prepare to enter the fray themselves. As the fight rages, Recca notices a strong-looking fighter named Jishu approaching. Realizing it's time to join the fray, Recca steps forward, ready to face the challenge. The episode cuts to a close-up of Jishu's face. He's confident, maybe even a bit arrogant, believing his power is unbeatable. He's got a determined look in his eyes, suggesting he won't go down without a fight. With a mighty roar, he charges forward, launching a powerful attack towards Recca. The impact sends shockwaves through the arena. Recca finds himself on the defensive, desperately trying to counter Jishu's relentless assault. Jishu is using a unique Ma-Dog that allows him to harden his skin like steel. This makes him incredibly tough, almost like a human tank. His attacks are forceful, each blow shaking Recca to his core. Recca struggles to keep up. His basic flame's not enough to stop Jishu's onslaught. He's getting overwhelmed, his movements becoming more desperate as Jishu's attacks grow more intense. Jishu taunts Recca, confident in his own strength. He believes that Recca's attacks will just bounce off him. Jishu mocks Recca, questioning his abilities. The jeers of the crowd add to the pressure mounting on Recca. He needs to do something, and fast. Amidst the chaos, Jishu lands a particularly strong kick, sending Recca crashing into the ground. He looks defeated, but then he takes a deep breath, steeling himself for another round. Recca, despite being battered and bruised, refuses to give up. He knows he needs a change of strategy, something to break through Jishu's tough defense. As Jishu prepares for another attack, Recca concentrates. He recalls his training, thinking back to when his master taught him how to use his flames more effectively. Recca remembers using his flames as a torch, focusing its intensity on a single point. Instead of blasting flames wildly, Recca aims them at a small crevice in Jishu's armor. The flames erupt, bursting through the opening. Jishu is taken aback. Despite his tough exterior, there is a weak point, and Recca found it. With a final defiant roar, Jishu falls, defeated. The episode ends with Team Hokage celebrating their first victory. Recca stands amidst the ruins of the destroyed arena, exhausted but triumphant. The episode concludes with a close-up of Recca's determined face. He may be bruised, but his spirit remains unbroken. The victory is a testament to his resilience and strategic thinking. The episode reinforces the central themes of the show, the importance of friendship, courage, and perseverance. As Recca and his team move forward in the tournament, the stakes rise and the challenges become greater. The question remains, can Recca and his friends stay true to their bond and overcome every obstacle that comes their way? Well, folks, that's a wrap on Flame of Recca Episode 16. If you enjoyed our recap, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more anime recaps. Your support means everything to us. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, stay safe, stay awesome, and keep watching. Welcome back to another amazing episode of Flame of Recca. And this episode is going to be pretty exciting because we're going to see some of our favorite characters take on some really powerful enemies. In the last episode, we saw the Urabuto Satsujin Underground Death Tournament was starting. We got to see a lot of our favorite characters get into action, and we got to see Recca show off some serious power when he fought off the second-place seed in the tournament, Yahagi. It was an awesome display of power and skill, but now we're going to get to see what happens next. So let's not waste any more time. Let's jump right into the episode. The episode picks up right after Recca's fight with Yahagi. Recca is celebrating his victory with his teammates, but they're all aware that the real test is still to come. Now that they've won their first match, Team Hokage is moving on to the second round, and their next opponent is pretty formidable. We don't actually know who they're fighting yet, but we do know that this team is led by Kogen Anki. You may remember him from earlier in the series. He's the young boy with the 5 transforming blades that Tokia defeated in Kurei's mansion. Now he's back and he's leading a team of some of the most dangerous and skilled assassins in the Koga army. As the episode progresses, we start to learn more about these assassins. They're all members of the Koga clan, a group of skilled fighters who are known for their deadly assassination techniques. One of them is even called Gashakura, which means assassin. These guys are not messing around. However, despite their reputation, Domon isn't afraid. In fact, he's looking forward to a good fight. He's been training hard and he feels like he's ready to take on anyone. So when it's time for the match to begin, he steps forward and offers to be the first one to fight. And his opponent is pretty intimidating. It's Gashakura, the strongest of the Koga assassins. He's a big, burly guy with a massive spiked club. And he looks like he could crush Domon with just one hit. But Domon isn't worried. He's confident in his own strength and he's eager to put it to the test. As the match begins, we start to see just how strong Gashakura really is. He's fast and powerful, and he's able to easily deflect Domon's attacks. It quickly becomes clear that Domon is in trouble. We then get to see Gashakura reveal his Ma-Dog. It's a strange-looking device that looks kind of like a necklace. But it's actually much more than that. It allows Gashakura to control a form of hardened mud and rock. He can create a protective barrier around himself, and he can also shoot sharp projectiles at his opponents. These mud-based attacks are incredibly powerful, and they make Gashakura almost invincible. No matter how hard Domon hits him, he just can't seem to get through. It's frustrating for Domon, and it starts to get to his head. He keeps trying to attack Gashakura directly, but it's not working. So he starts to get more and more reckless. Suddenly he stops attacking, and instead looks around for something else to attack. He spots a large boulder nearby and charges towards it. With a mighty kick, he sends the boulder flying towards Gashakura. But Gashakura is too quick. He dodges the attack and then retaliates with a barrage of mud projectiles. Domon is caught off guard, and he gets hit right in the chest. He staggers backward, but he's still standing. Gashakura is starting to get cocky now. He thinks he has Domon right where he wants him. He launches another attack, but this time Domon is prepared. He blocks the attack with his sword and then charges forward. He swings his sword in a wide arc, but Gashakura is too quick. He jumps over the sword and then lands a kick to Domon's chest. Domon goes flying backward and crashes into the ground, but he's still not giving up. He gets back up and charges forward once again, but Gashakura is just too powerful. He sends Domon crashing to the ground once again with a powerful kick. This time, Domon doesn't get back up. Gashakura is starting to get angry now. He thinks he's had enough of this. He approaches Domon and prepares to deliver the final blow, but just then, something unexpected happens. Domon suddenly remembers something that Recca told him a long time ago. A ninja must be resourceful and never give up. No matter how bad things look, there's always something you can do. Domon takes a deep breath and tries to calm himself down. He knows he can't beat Gashakura with brute force alone. He needs to use his head. He looks around and sees the mud that Gashakura used to attack him. He has an idea. He closes his eyes and focuses on his breathing. When he opens them again, they're filled with determination. He launches a powerful kick at Gashakura, knocking him off balance. Then he charges forward and grabs onto Gashakura's leg. He pulls himself closer and closer until he's right behind him. Then he does something that no one expected. He takes his sword and stabs it into Gashakura's back. Gashakura screams in pain as the sword pierces his skin. But Domon doesn't stop there. He pulls the sword out and stabs Gashakura again and again and again. Gashakura falls to the ground, clutching his chest. He looks down and sees the sword sticking out of him. He tries to pull it out, but it's too late. He's already dead. The crowd is silent for a moment. No one can believe what just happened. But the silence is broken by the announcer's voice. The winner of the match is Domon. The crowd erupts into cheers. Domon has done it. He's defeated Gashakura and won the match for his team. He looks around and sees his teammates running towards him. They're cheering and celebrating. Domon is exhausted, but he's also very happy. He's proven that he can win even when the odds are stacked against him. He's not just a brute. He's a skilled fighter and strategist. As the episode comes to a close, we see Domon and his teammates walking away from the battlefield. They've won the match, but they know that the toughest battles are still ahead of them. They have to rescue Yanagi, and they won't be able to do it without working together. And that's the end of another amazing episode of Flame of Recca. If you liked this episode, be sure to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Until then, keep watching anime and stay awesome. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Anime World. Today, we'll be discussing the full recap of Flame of Recca episode 18. The title of this episode is The Second Dragon, the Living Flame. Without further ado, let's dive into the video. Before we start today's recap, if you are new here, then make sure to leave a like. And without further ado, let's get started with the recap. We last left off with Domon fighting in his match, and after an intense battle, he was able to defeat his opponent. Now it is time for Recca to fight in his match. However, before his match begins, he is approached by Saburo, who informs Recca that his opponent is a man from the Uruha clan and that he is a pretty tough guy. Recca responds by saying he understands and thanks Saburo for the advice. Then it is time for him to take his position. Recca's opponent is named Sekio, and he walks out accompanied by his two teammates. As he walks to the center of the arena, we see that he is a big man with a scar across his face. After introductions are made, the fight begins. Sekio immediately summons his Mad-Dog, which takes the form of a large living golem made of stone. The golem is incredibly powerful and immediately attacks Recca with ease. It swings its massive arms, which easily sends boulders flying. Recca narrowly dodges the attack and leaps over the golem to try and get behind it. However, the golem turns around and blocks his path. As Recca tries to navigate the arena to avoid the golem's attacks, he notices that the stone-like armor covering the golem is very hard, and his normal flames won't do much damage. So he attempts to go around the arena in order to find a weak spot. Meanwhile, Sekio watches from afar with a smile on his face because he knows that there is no way that Recca will be able to win this fight. From his perspective, he has complete control of the situation and is confident that he will come out on top. However, Recca is determined to find a way to defeat the golem, and although he may not know how yet, he refuses to give up. Back at the commentary table, Yomi asks Furuya what he thinks will happen. Furuya replies that it looks like Recca is in trouble since his flames don't seem to affect the golem. Yomi replies by saying that she wishes for something to happen to save Recca from this hopeless situation. On the other hand, Saburo is a lot more optimistic and believes that Recca will be able to figure something out. Meanwhile, back at the arena, Recca continues to evade the golem's attacks and tries to think of a way to defeat it. He remembers the words of his mother, Kage Hoshi, who told him that he could summon dragons by channeling different emotions. However, he has only been able to summon 2 dragons so far, Raijin and Seiryu. He wonders if there are more dragons within him waiting to be unleashed. Sekio notices that Recca is distracted and becomes impatient. He tells the golem to end the match quickly so they can move on to the next one. However, As the golem is about to deliver a final blow to Recca, he suddenly stops. Recca takes this opportunity to focus and remember the words of his mother. He closes his eyes and reaches back to find the remaining 6 dragons sleeping inside of him. He feels a surge of power and opens his eyes with determination. He realizes that he needs to use a different flame to defeat the golem. Using the power of the dragons he has awakened, Recca creates a flame in the shape of a blade and throws it towards the golem. To everyone's surprise, the flame slices through the golem's stone armor and hits its core. The golem collapses and is defeated, much to Sekio's disbelief. Recca lands gracefully on the ground and extends his hand to help Sekio and his teammates up. He apologizes for the suddenness of the attack, but Sekio is too stunned to respond. Recca's team celebrates their victory and moves on to the next round. However, as the episode progresses, we learn that controlling the Saiha dragon is not easy. It is a wild and untamed flame that is difficult to keep under control. Despite this challenge, Recca is determined to master his new power and become a true fire-wielding ninja. Now let's discuss the characters and their development in this episode. Recca is the main protagonist of the series, and he is a kind-hearted young ninja who is determined to protect his friends and family. In this episode, we see him struggle to control his newfound fire powers, but he eventually manages to awaken the 3rd of the 8 dragons, Saiha. This new flame gives him a powerful weapon to defeat his opponent, but it also puts a strain on his mental fortitude as he learns to master it. Recca's character development is a significant aspect of the series, and this episode highlights his journey to become a true fire-wielding ninja. The second notable character in this episode is Sekio, Recca's opponent. He is a member of the Uruha clan, and he is a formidable fighter who controls a powerful golem made of stone. Sekio is confident and arrogant, believing that he has complete control over the situation. However, he is ultimately defeated by Recca's new flame. Sekio serves as a catalyst for Recca's character development, pushing him to his limits and forcing him to tap into his latent potential. In addition to these main characters, we also see some supporting characters in this episode, such as Domon and Saburo, who offer their support and guidance to Recca. The interactions between these characters help to develop the overall plot and themes of the series. The animation and fight choreography in this episode are top-notch. The action sequences are fast-paced and well-executed, keeping viewers on the edge of their seats. The animation quality is excellent, with fluid movements and stunning visuals. The fight between Recca and Sekio is the highlight of the episode, and it showcases the power and skill of both characters. The choreography is impressive and the camera work is excellent, making the fight feel immersive and exciting. Overall, Flame of Recca Episode 18 is a fantastic installment in the series. The plot is engaging and well-paced, with plenty of action and excitement to keep viewers entertained. The characters are well-developed and the animation is top-notch. The fight between Recca and Sekio is a standout moment in the episode, and it showcases the power and skill of both characters. If you are a fan of ninja action anime, then Flame of Recca is definitely worth watching. With that being said, this was our recap of Flame of Recca Episode 18. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you in the next one. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more great content. Thanks for watching. Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for watching, and today we're going to do a full recap of Flame of Recca Episode 19, which is titled The Koga's Flame, The Battle of the Destiny of the Past. You know what to do. Drop a like if you haven't already, and let's get started. In Flame of Recca Episode 18, we saw the Urabuto Satsujin Underground Death Tournament continue with Ren fighting against an assassin. But this episode does not focus on any members of Recca's team. Instead, we see another one of the main antagonists, Kurei, and his team, the Uruha, step into the spotlight. The episode opens with everyone anxiously waiting for the next match to begin. They know it's going to be an intense one. The previous matches have been thrilling, but this one promises to be different, perhaps even more important than the others. The announcer's voice echoes through the Colosseum, electrifying the crowd, and then the fighters appear. Kure walks confidently towards the center stage, followed closely by the other members of the Uruha. Among them, two individuals stand out. One is a tall, muscular man with a shaved head, exuding an air of quiet strength. Next to him is a slender, sharp-featured man who seems almost predatory in his gaze. These two men, along with Kure, form a formidable trio, each possessing unique abilities and unwavering loyalty to their leader. But they are not alone. Emerging from the opposite side is the team's opponent, led by a mysterious fighter. The most prominent among them is a bulky man with a wild mane of red hair and piercing eyes. Behind him are three more fighters, each equally eager to prove themselves in the tournament. As the two teams face off, an air of tension fills the arena. All eyes are on the fighters, anticipating the upcoming battle. The bell rings, signaling the start of the match. Instantly, all hell breaks loose. The crowd roars, unable to contain their excitement. Now, here's where things get interesting. The team that Kure is facing is actually the same group that Recca's team defeated earlier in the series, and among their ranks is Makaren, the plant manipulator who challenged Recca and his friends previously. However, this time, the roles are reversed. Makaren isn't alone. He stands beside the red-haired warrior, and together they seem ready to take on anyone. But the attention of many, including Recca, Yanagi, and Furi, is on the man beside Curry. They recognize him immediately as the leader of the Uruha and a key figure in the series' central conflict. Back in the present, as the battle rages, Recca's team watches intently. They know the Urata is a formidable team, and they're eager to see how their friends will fare against such a powerful opponent. Furi, with her usual enthusiasm, cheers them on. But there's a hint of worry in her voice. She knows the stakes are high, and the outcome of this match could have significant consequences. Meanwhile, in the midst of the chaos, the red-haired warrior suddenly stops fighting. He turns to the team leader and asks a question, his voice filled with urgency. The team leader nods, understanding the gravity of the situation. Without a word, the warrior rushes forward, abandoning his post and leaving his teammates momentarily short-handed. As he runs, his eyes fixed on a specific opponent, determination etched on his face. Now, here's where we learn more about the characters and their motivations. The warrior, it turns out, holds a deep-seated hatred for Kure. This wasn't always the case. At one point, he was part of the Kagero clan and held the rank of Kage, indicating his status as a respected member. But everything changed when Kurai took over the clan. Since then, the warrior has sworn revenge, driven by a burning desire for retribution. This revelation adds a new layer to the match. It's not just a competition anymore. It's a clash of ideologies, a battle between loyalty and betrayal, and above all, a personal vendetta. Suddenly, the team leader steps forward, his gaze locked onto the warrior. The crowd falls silent, sensing the intensity of the moment. With a deep breath, the team leader speaks, his voice echoing through the arena. He addresses the warrior directly, acknowledging his past and his grievances. But he also makes it clear that there can only be one winner. As the tension mounts, the warrior responds, his voice laced with bitterness. He reiterates his hatred for the team leader and his determination to end him. The words hang in the air, amplifying the anticipation for the upcoming confrontation. But just as the battle is reaching its peak, the screen fades to black, leaving us on a cliffhanger. We don't get to see the outcome of this confrontation. Instead, the episode shifts its focus elsewhere. The next morning, the surviving members of the Uruha gather at their base, reflecting on the events of the previous day. Despite their losses, they remain stoic, their faces betraying little emotion. Among them, the team leader stands out, lost in thought. His expression is unreadable, his eyes distant as he contemplates their next move. The rest of the episode is dedicated to showing what happened to the fighter that was left behind during the match. Turns out he wasn't just neglected, he was abandoned. His teammates didn't just leave him behind in the heat of the moment. They had planned to sacrifice him. It's a shocking revelation, highlighting the ruthlessness and cunning of the Urata. However, the fighter doesn't let this betrayal get the best of him. He accepts his fate with a sense of calm, even going as far as to joke about the situation. He doesn't hold any grudges, demonstrating a level of maturity and composure that's surprising. In the end, he makes a valiant effort to defeat their opponents, but it's not enough. The other team proves to be too strong, and he is eventually defeated. As he lies on the ground, wounded and exhausted, he hears the approaching footsteps of his former teammates. There's no remorse or regret in their voices as they discuss their next move, revealing the depths of their callousness. The fighter is left to contemplate his fate, knowing that his time may be running out. Suddenly, a hand reaches out to him, offering a helping hand. Looking up, he sees the team leader standing above him, his expression unreadable. The team leader offers him a place in the Urata, not as a teammate, but as a tool, a disposable pawn in his larger plans. The fighter considers this offer, weighing his options, but ultimately, he rejects it, choosing to face his fate alone. With his decision made, the fighter braces himself for the final showdown. He knows he's outnumbered and outmatched, but he's ready to give it his all, and that brings us to the final moments of the episode. The focus shifts back to Kure. He stands in the shadows, observing his surroundings with a cold, calculating gaze. The lines on his face seem to deepen, hinting at the weight of his responsibilities and the darkness that surrounds him. As the camera pans away, we are left with a sense of unease and a glimpse of the sinister forces at play. So what did you think of episode 19? What are your thoughts on the revelations about the characters and their motivations? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Your support means a lot to us and keeps us motivated to bring you the best content possible. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Hey guys, I'm here from the channel, and today we have a great episode of In Flame of Recca. This is In Flame of Recca, episode 20, The Deadly Assassin, The Battle of the Maidens. We start off right where we left off last episode with the Urabuto Satsujin, or the Underground Death Tournament, continuing. We saw in the last episode the second match was Team Hokage's strongest member, Kurei's turn to shine. And man, did he shine like a raging wildfire that just wouldn't quit. He took his opponent, Tobari, easily, and advanced our team another step in this deadly tournament. Now it's time for the third match. It's time for Team Hokage's only female member, Fuko Kirisawa, to step up and show him what she can do. But before we get into the details of her fight, we need to talk about how she is feeling. In the last episode, after witnessing Kurumi's match, she was both amazed by his power and worried. Why? Well, it's because she knows exactly how dangerous it is to face an opponent who is stronger than you are. An opponent like Tobari. And not only that, but she also knows firsthand the psychological torment that such an opponent can inflict. That's because when they were being attacked by Bari and his comrades, she was the one who got captured and taken away. She was the one who had to face Tobari alone without any friends to help her. And trust me, it was a terrifying experience. She had never felt so much despair and hopelessness as she did during those times. To make things worse, Tobari was just getting started. Then came the final blow, the most hurtful thing of all, which was not even directed at her. It was directed at her friends. Tobari taunted her, saying that he would kill all of her friends one by one, starting with Yanagi. He wanted to break her, to make her feel like the worst person ever. But somehow she managed to hold on. She didn't want to give up. She didn't want to let Tobari win. And finally, when the others arrived to save her, she couldn't believe it. She thought she was too weak, that she wasn't worth saving. But there they were, ready to risk their lives to save her. She realized then that she wasn't alone, that she had friends who cared about her, who would stand by her side no matter what. And in that moment, something inside of her snapped. She was determined to become stronger, to prove to herself and to her friends that she was not a burden, that she was a valuable member of their team. But it's easier said than done. Becoming stronger requires hard work, dedication, and most importantly, facing your fears head-on. And that's what Fuko has been doing ever since that day. She has trained tirelessly, pushing herself beyond her limits to become better. She has faced her fears, the fear of losing her friends, the fear of being helpless, the fear of facing Tabari again. She has faced it all, and she has come out stronger on the other side. So when it's time for her to step into the ring and face her next opponent, she is ready. But will it be enough? Who is her opponent? Well, let's find out. After the second match, the host of the Underground tournament announces the third match. The winner of this match will go on to face the victor of the match between Kure and Tabari, which of course was Kuri. So basically, if she wins, she'll move on to face her friend, which I'm sure is not what she wants. Her opponent is Mikoto, a young woman with long, flowing black hair and piercing red eyes. She is a member of the Red Fang clan, a group of fierce warriors known for their strength and skill in battle. She is also an assassin, a master of stealth and deception, and as Fuko soon finds out, she is a very dangerous opponent. When Mikoto walks into the arena, she strikes a pose that oozes confidence. She is not afraid. She is not nervous. She is in control. She is the predator, and Fuko is the prey. Or so she thinks. As the bell rings, signaling the start of the match, the two fighters get into their stances. Mikoto smirks. She is enjoying this. She loves the thrill of the fight, the challenge of facing a worthy opponent. She sees Fuko as just another notch on her belt, another victim to add to her list. But she doesn't know what she's in for. Fuko may be young, but she is not inexperienced. She has been honing her skills for years, training hard to become a powerful kunoichi. She is not afraid of Mikoto. She is not intimidated by her opponent's arrogance. She is focused, determined, and ready to fight. With a flick of her wrist, Fuko activates her wind Madog, the Fujin, and unleashes a powerful gust of wind that sends Mikoto flying backwards. She is surprised. She didn't expect her opponent to strike first, to be so aggressive. She shakes off the shock and gets back into her stance. She is intrigued now. She sees Fuko as a worthy opponent, someone who can give her a good fight. The battle rages on. Fuko uses her wind abilities to create powerful gusts and sharp blades of air that cut through the air like razors. Mikoto dodges and weaves, her movements swift and precise. She is impressed by Fuko's skill, her speed and agility. She can tell that this is going to be a tough fight. Mikoto uses her signature move, a powerful attack that she calls the Crimson Lotus. She concentrates her chi, the energy that flows through all living things, into her hands and releases a burst of red energy that looks like a blooming flower. The attack is devastating. Fuko is sent flying backwards, crashing into the ground. She is hurt, but she is not defeated. She gets back up, shaking off the pain. She is determined to win this fight. And then it happens. A flashback. Fuko sees the horrified faces of her friends, the despair in their eyes, the fear in their voices. She hears Tabari's taunts echoing in her ears, mocking her, breaking her down. She feels the pain of her wounds, the burn of her injuries. She is losing hope. She is about to give up. But then she sees something. She sees the faces of her friends, the support and encouragement in their eyes, the belief in their voices. She hears the cheers of the crowd, the excitement, the anticipation. She feels the rush of adrenaline, the thrill of the fight. She is not alone. She has friends who believe in her, who support her, who cheer her on. She is not giving up. She is not backing down. She is fighting. She uses her wind abilities to create a whirlwind around her, a protective shield that deflects Mikoto's attacks. She moves with lightning speed, her attacks swift and precise. She is in control now. She is the predator. Mikoto is the prey. Mikoto is taken aback. She didn't expect Fuko to come back like this, to be so strong, so determined, so relentless. She tries to regroup, to come up with a plan, but it's too late. Fuko's final attack comes out of nowhere. She leaps into the air, her body a blur of motion, and slams her fist into Makoto's face. The force of the blow knocks Makoto out cold. The crowd goes wild. They cheer and scream, excited by the sudden turn of events. Fuko stands over her unconscious opponent, her chest heaving, her eyes blazing with determination. She has won. She has proven herself. She has shown her friends, and most importantly, she has shown herself that she is not weak. She is not a burden. She is a valuable member of their team. And as the episode ends, we see Fuko walking away from the arena, her head held high, her shoulders back, her eyes looking forward. She has a long way to go, but she is on the right path. She is stronger than she was before, and she will only get stronger from here on out. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please hit that like button. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.